My first question was received from Pearl. Her question consists of how you used hardware during production. This is a very good question and I will be discussing it today. So after doing my research, I took the phone camera footage and uploaded it onto Google Drive before saving it on a USB to be able to share it easier for different members of the group and access it on a different devices as well. Furthermore, before editing, I had to download plugins into After Effects to give me more effect choices such as Sapphire, Twixtor, and BCC. During filming, we used the iPhone 11 Pro to be able to get the highest quality available as we could not afford cameras. To get the highest quality, we made sure to change the resolution to the highest level possible as well use the exposure to control the lighting. This allowed us to get the best quality for the shots and the best aesthetics that we wanted for our film. The second question I received was from Faiz. His question was that he was curious as to what software I used. As my main role was the editor, this question has a lot for me to say. After all footage was stored, I entered Google Drive through the link sent in our WhatsApp group chat to download all the footage so I can enter them by using files to add the season to After Effects 2018. Through After Effects, I time remapped the clips to make them shorter or smoother so they can have a continuous editing effect throughout the film. The biggest change I had to apply through After Effects was changing the brightness and saturation of the footage because the lighting was very bright and it needed to be presented as low-key lighting to conform to the horror genre. This was done by placing the brightness at -100, the contrast to 15, and the saturation to red and 35. However, this was changed depending on each clip because of the different light sources used, such as practical lighting. To continue, I had to use the Sapphire plugin when applying the flicker effect for the bathroom scene that was inspired by Stranger Things. This plugin was used again for blur-mo curves when creating the zoom-in transition for the final door, and accentuating the smoothness using graphs. For graphing, I made it smooth by beginning the curve as a slope so it goes from slow to fast to create a smooth zoom-in effect. To make it smoother, I also turned on motion blur so any movement can be blurred and smooth without having to add RSMB effect. However, halfway through I had to opt to using iMovie to sequence my clips because After Effects would take a long time loading. So using iMovie to sequence the clips saved time as well as add some auditory effects that did not need much altering. Mostly, I used After Effects to edit the audios in our film. For instance, I had to muffle and echo the muffled screams through adding the bass effect to give it a touch of realism. Furthermore, on After Effects, I learned how to adjust the auditory level so the sounds we recorded outside of the shooting can sound diegetic during the filming and realistic. The final question I received was from Jasmine. Her question asks how I integrated online platforms into my production process. This is a really important aspect of the production, so I'm really glad you asked this. Once finished with editing, I transferred the project file through Gmail, WeTransfer, and Mega to keep the film at a high resolution and avoid issues with downloading. This was then uploaded onto YouTube where we were able to receive feedback on the film and interact with the audience. Another thing I used YouTube for was watching editing tutorials to learn how to use Adobe After Effects to my full ability. One thing I learned was how to navigate a website because I had to refer to Weebly often to update every aspect of our film. On Weebly, I would insert images, text, different fonts, and edit the spacing to my liking. I also had the opportunity to make it interactive, which was very new and unfamiliar at the beginning, but quickly became a way used to engage with the audience, to be able to communicate with other members of my team. We used the app WhatsApp to be able to navigate through each step during production and planning. This made it easier when we could not meet up due to COVID situations or for quick references. As well, I recommended that we use the app Notion as it allows all members to access the same page and therefore can all see the documents needed and help each other during the process. Finally, I used Google Forms to create a survey about the representation of the film, whilst I used Snapchat to present a poll about the conventions of the film to analyze how the audience grasped our film concept and if it conformed to the slasher horror genre. Adding on, I used social medias like Snapchat, Twitter, and Instagram to market our film to a majority of audiences so our target audience can easily find our film and watch it. Thank you for watching our film and asking these questions. Make sure you check out my previous CCR questions number 1, 2, and 3 if you have not yet.